We got football this weekend in Ireland. The Aer Lingus Classic. TCU versus North Carolina. Had some fun games in this game over the past few years. We had Kansas State versus Iowa State a year ago. That was fun. Farmageddon. We had Georgia Tech versus, I believe, Florida State 2 years ago in this football game. So we've had a lot of big matchups. This one's big because of Bill Belichick. I wouldn't call it a must-watch national championship contender caliber game, but this one's big because of Bill Belichick. So before we even break down this game and all that, North Carolina was smoked by TCU to open up the season last year, so this could be a revenge spot. Just want to get your thoughts overall, Grant, on Bill Belichick's tenure in college football. Is this it for the GOAT?
I feel like it should be, in all honesty. Now, I was going to bat for Bill Belichick because my whole philosophy was Bill Belichick, even if he had sort of started to diminish a little bit at the NFL level, like with coaches, it's not all that different with players. I mean, if you're in college, you are usually a step below the NFL coaches. Now, there are some exceptions, right? You know, if Kirby Smart were to go take over an NFL team or an NFL defense specifically, I think he'd be just fine. I think he could do a good job. But you don't go against Kirby Smart all the time. In the ACC, I mean, Dabo was like the only guy who you think, I mean, maybe he could do something to Bill Belichick, but schematically, I wouldn't think on his best day he could hold a candle to Bill Belichick. So from that perspective, I was thinking, okay, maybe Bill can maximize lesser talent like he always did with the Patriots, and then it falls back on his coaching, and that's UNC's path to winning games. And then we saw UNC actually play, and you go, nope, that's not at all what it is. This looks like a retirement activity for Bill Belichick. Now, I know that UNC has made some good acquisitions in the portal. I think they've been even better on the high school recruiting front, but they've had issues with Lombardi in the front office, and this team is just, I don't feel like they are set up because I don't think Bill Belichick is very serious. I don't think they're good at the quarterback position. And it's like you have to prove it to me for me to believe it. I gave you the benefit of the doubt until I saw it, and now you're fighting an uphill battle until you can prove it to me again.
I mean, I think they're in shape to cover this weekend. That's what I think. I don't know if they're going to have a good year, but I think for a game that's in Ireland with a team that got better in a revenge spot where, Michael Lombardi was thrown out for a HR complaint, but they've also had some recruiting violations coming in there, like some recruiting allegations. I love that. I love recruiting allegations. It means I think that means we're trying to bring in talented football players, and I think that's great. I think Billy Edwards is good enough to win games coming off a major injury, but was really good at not really good, but solid at Maryland a year before. If he builds on that, plus a year off, should be okay. I think this is like what you were saying about how Bill Belichick grooms these kids, basically, or, his scheme and all that. You didn't have the horses last year. If you don't have the horses, the scheme doesn't matter. If you have a whole year now, an extra offseason to put in your philosophy. Because from what I remember, he signed late to UNC, didn't he?
He did, yeah, because he was trying to keep his options open to go to the NFL.
So, I mean, what do you expect at that point? Plus, you had all the drama of the girlfriend, and that's all faded now. I mean, she's still there, but like she just likes doing cheerleading competitions. Before it was a meme, now it's just the standard. The standard is the standard in the building. So I think if you give them a year to input their philosophy, another year to put in the North Carolina Bill Belichick way and put the scheme in, I do think we're going to get situations like we've seen for like Ohio State, where just an NFL coaching staff is able to do things to quarterbacks that colleges can't replicate, pending they have the horses to do it. So we'll see, but I think people are overlooking UNC in this spot because I do believe they're going to be better than last year.
Well, I mean, hopefully, because they're really bad last year. They've had a ton of roster turnover, and that can go one of two ways, right? I mean, you have Lombardi, who was in charge of a lot of that, and now, of course, he's no longer with the program. He was having the HR violations. Do you remember when he was trying to raise money from Saudi Arabia? Like, how focused was he actually on getting the players over the line and making sure they were the right players for the program? Of course, Bill Belichick has a say in that, but Bill's also, even back in his heyday in the NFL, he's never been thought of as like this great general manager or eye for talent guy. So how's it going to look? And you might have some confidence in Billy Edwards Jr. I just don't. That's not really my guy. There are quarterback questions on the other side, though, with TCU. Jaden Craig is coming off of 2 really good years with Harvard. but it is Harvard. So, like, what does he actually look like in a P4 competitive environment? But over the last 2 years, 48 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, those numbers will work. So, how's that going to look? TCU is a lot more established. Obviously, I was going to say Indiana. TCU did lose Josh Hoover to Indiana, but Sonny Dykes is a good coach. TCU, again, did blow out UNC last year. So, we'll see how this thing goes. By the way, guys, if you are watching this and you have thoughts on this matchup or any of the matchups we'll talk about, let us know down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that great stuff. As far as the spread goes, I think the right thing to do is to take UNC at plus 7.5 because it's international and that can make it difficult. But I'm gonna go with no, I'll do it. I'll be smart. I'll go with UNC. It's an international game. Things get weird.
I mean, Jaden Craig making your Power 4 debut. You can't tell me that the UNC kids, every one of them, is better than every 95% of what you see in the Ivy League. You can't tell me that.
Probably. You're probably right.
Even UNC. So it's going to be a little bit of a step up there. It's also in Ireland. The field conditions, it's always a problem there. And the past 2 years, underdogs have won outright in this football game. That's the other thing to know. Last year, K-State was probably a short favorite in that game. Iowa State beat them. That's why Iowa State's now at Penn State, basically, with Matt Campbell. And then the year before, Georgia Tech, that was before we really knew the Haynes King mania was running wild, and we thought Florida State was actually a good football program, which they're not. But at the time, Haynes King winning, I think, is a 7.5 or a 10.5 point dog outright. Like, that was a monumental win for Georgia Tech.
Florida State was number 10 in the country in that game.
Yeah, that was a monumental win, which nobody expected that one coming, and that one busted a lot of parlays. So I think this is a spot where I would rather have Billy Edwards than Jaden Craig, because Billy Edwards has at least had a competitive football season in the Big Ten. You got to think, too, experience matters so much. The fact that he had his good season as a junior, got his leg torn up as a senior, and now he's back. If the leg is healthy, the experience is there. You're in your 5th year now. Like, something's got to change a little bit for you. I do think he takes a step forward.
Another game I want to talk about, and then we'll get to another one from you. I want to look at NC State going up against UVA, Virginia. UVA coming off of the best year in program history, 11-3. They still lose to 7-5 Duke in the ACC championship game. I'm a Hokie, so of course I got to bring that up. Bo Pribula at UVA, I think that's a good level for him. He had the background at Penn State, and then at Mizzou, there was some thought that he was going to go reunite with James Franklin at Virginia Tech, but he ends up at UVA. I think that's the right level for him. I think he's a good follow-up to Chandler Morris, who was trying to get a 17th year of college football eligibility and got denied. So I think they'll be solid, but I also think that they have lost talent. I don't think the ACC as whole is as weak as it was last year. So I think you're just going to inherently see their record decline. I mean, I'm pretty sure their projected win total is something like 5.5 or 6.5 wins. And again, that's coming off of an 11-3 year. But as it pertains to this game specifically, they're 5.5 point favorites. I do like the fact that CJ Bailey is back out there with NC State. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in this conference. I think there's a chance that he takes off and becomes one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So just because of his playmaking ability, and because I do think UVA is going to regress in various areas, and it's week 1, so you don't really know what you're getting from these teams, I would probably take NC State at a 5.5 point spread.
I would probably do that as well. I think that's a good move. Dave Doran has owned Virginia. I think he's 4-0 against him all time. So that means something. My fear with just how NC State's going to operate, they did lose some players in the portal to keep CJ Bailey. Like, financially, they spent a lot of money to keep him. But I'm going to go with the better quarterback in this game. I like Bo Pribula. I liked him when he was at Penn State. I thought, like, he was very talented. He had all the playmaking ability. I actually thought he should have started over Drew Aller at times when he was at Penn State. So that says something a little bit. But I do think this is a game where the dogs are going to be barking, and I will take the better quarterback, and that's CJ Bailey. So NC State gets it done there.
All right, you got another game for us?
I mean, I would say, I'm still looking at the week 0 slate. It is early in the week, but I am leaning towards Memphis in this early game. I think UNLV is a team that, was concerning last year, especially early in the season. You look at what they were able to do, almost got upset pretty big by a 1AA opponent last year. And again, week 1, you're getting 5.5 points, or week 0, you're getting 5.5 points. I'll always lean towards the dogs, but Still got a little more breaking down to do on these games, which we will continue to do on the podcast. But right now, just off the top, I'm leaning towards Memphis plus the points. I would lean towards NC State plus the points. And then also the big game that we've already talked about, UNC plus the 7 or 8.5, depending on where you get it.
Yeah, I like the Memphis pick a lot as well. That's also a 5.5 point spread. Jackson Arnold, I am not a Jackson Arnold believer. I know that UNLV they had a really good offense last year. Their defense was pretty disappointing. I like Charles Huff going to Memphis. I was a big fan of his at Marshall. There's a ton of turnover there. Memphis was really prolific on offense last year as well. Charles Huff, being a defensive guy, can hopefully go in and shore some things up there. Had some stats. He was Mike Green's coach when Mike Green was getting 16 sacks or whatever it was at Marshall. So I think that he can go in there and get that defense better than it was last year. First game of the season. Again, it's tough to know what you're getting from either teams. It's tough to know from any team in the modern era of college football where there's so much turnover with the roster and coaches, but I would take Memphis at plus 5.5 as well.
I just like Dan Mullen for UNLV. I think Dan Mullen's a hell of a coach, so that would be my one fear about going against them. But early in the season, nobody knows, and even the bookmakers don't know. We don't know how these teams mesh. It's all new kids. That's the fun thing about week 0. So I would always be expecting these week 0, week 1 matchups to be relatively close, looking at program to program. Obviously, if you take Alabama and you put them against UNLV, that game's probably not close. But if you have these two smaller programs and a school from the MAC and a school from is it the Pac-12 now? Mountain West probably for UNLV.
Mountain West, yeah.
The Pac-12's back though now this year.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Pac-12's back.
Did I say I don't know. Did I say Charles Huff was a defensive coach? I don't know why that was in my head. If I did, I meant offensive. But anyway.
So we'll see. But I'll be taking the dogs in these games.
Yeah, I like it. And guys, we are going to be breaking down more games for week 0 throughout the college football season, NFL, all that great stuff, anything with football in it. We will be talking about it here on the channel. So make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new around here. We're almost at 1,000 subs. And definitely let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments below because we want to see them.
That was Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. We will see you next time for another episode.